Is the U.S. steel industry thriving? So Trump said that the steel industry is thriving. Is that true? Last week, U.S. President Donald Trump said that at a rally that the U.S. steel industry was thriving under his presidency. Last year, Trump imposed a 25% tariff on U.S. steel imports. However, despite these tariffs, U.S. steel stocks have had a rough ride. All right, so However, the equity markets seem to believe otherwise. U.S. steel corporations and Nucor have lost 37.6% and 4.5% respectively. AK Steel has been slightly better off and is up 1.8% year to date. However, AK Steel fell a whopping 60% last year. All right, so what's been driving this sell-off? So people are selling off stock in the steel industry. Plants are closing. That's continuing. So what's been driving this sell-off? Recession fears have spooked metals and mining investors. According to the article, Germany's second quarter GDP growth slipped into the negative territory. China's economic data has also been quite dismal this month. The U.S. steel industry isn't immune to China's slowdown. To make things worse, the U.S. yield curve inverted last week, further igniting recession fears. Given growth concerns, steel might be the last industry investors want to get into. Aluminum and copper stocks are sold off last week, and Alcoa hit a fresh 52-week low. The U.S. steel industry wants the Trump administration to get tough on China. However, given the current scenario, U.S. steel companies should now hope for an amicable solution to the trade dispute. A slowing China won't help make the steel industry great again. That is according to this Market Realist article that Christina shares. And they want me to get real. Get real, Ron. Get real. Get your real market. All right. Thank you for that, Christina. So once again, there's another industry that's not necessarily thriving because guess what? And you know, I'm not an expert in the international steel industry, nor do I pretend to be. This is just one article. This is just one source, and that's their analysis. But looking at this big picture, the economy ain't doing so hot. And whenever people try to tell you the economy is doing well, they're really cherry picking the data they throw at you. And who's doing stuff like that? Trump supporters. Is this a unique scenario? No. When Obama was in office, people did the same thing. When Obama was in office, people who liked Obama said, hey, unemployment's down. Unemployment is a very skewed, almost useless statistic because it doesn't take into account people who are underemployed, which is most people in this country at this point. It doesn't take into account people who have got discouraged and stopped looking for work. It doesn't take into account any of those entities, and underemployed being the big one. And it's skewed on how it qualifies things. So it's not really that strong of a statistic. But if you like who's in the White House, you'll use that number when it's convenient for you. When the number's a little lower, Trump supporters will say, see, when Obama was in office and the number was lower, people would say, see. And then people who weren't a fan of the president would say, hey, look, that's actually kind of a skewed way to look at it. We actually have a lot of issues. And big picture, what you're saying is inaccurate. Now, somebody like me who has no sacred cows, I said that when Obama was in office. I'm saying it now that Trump's in office. Yeah, the economy's not great. The economy's not great because we have an economy that only benefits the 1%. And we only sound the alarm when something's affecting them. When Wall Street is hurting, that's when we actually talk about what's going on economically. And that's our gauge for how the economy's doing. And when I say that, I mean in the corporate media sense. They never talk about the fact that most Americans can't afford a $1,000 emergency, that there's more medical bankruptcies in this country than for any other reason, that people can't get a higher education without going into crippling debt. They never talk about that when assessing the economy. They say how the stocks are doing. That's what they talk about. All right. So there's some getting real from my perspective.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting